Hi, everybody out there in Facebook land. This is Kendall. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Beer 30. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, everybody out there in Facebook land.
Cheers.
I'm going to tell you that it was just over a year ago that my wife and I went hiking over in the Yakima area. And then after we'd been out hiking all day, we stopped by Breaker Brewing, where they were having a big party for the release of their Sessions del Migrante beer, which was a benefit beer for La Casa Hogar, which is a great organization in the Yakima area. So it was a great party. It was a great time. Lots of people there salsa dancing and kids running around kicking soccer balls and things like that. And less gringos than Latinas. And we really had a great time. Learned more about what that organization does. And I was extremely happy to find out that you guys had done this beer, collaborated on this beer to benefit them. So we're going to talk a little bit about the beer. We're going to talk about each of your organizations that got together and collaborated to come up with this beer. And we're going to talk about experimental hops, and we're going to talk about all sorts of fun stuff. So without further delay, I'm joined today by Tommy from Zeeks Pizza, and Zach from Single Hill Brewing, and Kristen from Sip Magazine. And who would like to start? How about we start this way? Kristen.
Yeah.
How did you get your magazine to the point that your magazine, which is a lovely magazine, by the way, decided to get involved in a collaboration beer?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of been a personal dream of mine and Erin's and my sister's Melissa's for years now. And we just kind of really didn't know how to go about it. And we had been talking to Tommy about some other stuff in Zeeks Pizza and partnering with them on some other things. And it kind of seemed a natural collaboration because love Zeeks Pizza, no joke. My husband and I, we order it at least once a week. So I'm like been a huge fan of Zeeks forever, but the beer program that they've always had and has been really special, and knew that they had a relationship with Single Hill. Met with Tommy at first. He brought up the idea of Single Hill, and obviously with the magazine, we have a lot of relationships in the brewery industry. So you're always like, oh, we're not picking favorites, but we're certainly picking one of our favorites. And when he brought up Single Hill, it was just like, yes, let's do it. We had tried their beer when they brought it by for the Best of the Northwest competition a few years ago. And I think it was Fresh Hop last year that just kind of sealed the deal for me. It was the first stop when we got into town. They had, I don't know how many fresh hops they had on draft. It must have been like 8 or something, and like half of them were collaborations, which I'm like, I love these guys. Like, I think we're better together, and so I just love the idea of collaborating. We had no idea what we were doing as far as distribution or any of that, which Zeeks was able to bring in. Single Hill with their relationships in the actual hop farms and all the experimental stuff they're already doing. We were just really excited and ready to get roaring. So, and then COVID.
So that's great. And Tommy, talking about what you guys do at Zeeks, I tell people that Zeeks isn't so much a pizza place that has good beer as it's a beer parlor with a pizza problem. Because you guys really, for anybody out there who doesn't know, if you go into most any of the Zeeks locations around the Seattle-Tacoma area, you're going to be really impressed by the selection of beer they have. Not what you'd normally expect at a pizza place, and a lot of that has to do with Tommy's hard work. So why don't you tell us how you got to the point that you're what's your title? Are you kind of the beer guru at Zeeks, and how did you get to the point where you built this amazing program? And tell us a little bit about that program.
Yeah, it's kind of a long story, but I guess the start of it was back 10 years ago-ish, and we were pouring beer into frosted mugs and pouring Stella and PBR and supporting some of the local old school craft breweries in Washington. But I was a Wobble member. I was traveling around and drinking beer at local breweries, going to festivals, and I saw an opportunity for Zeeks because we've always cared about our quality of food product, and our culture has always been very beer focused. The company grew on beer in a lot of ways, and it just seemed like an obvious. And this is back in like 2012, I want to say. So, craft beer was really becoming mainstream at that point, and it just seemed something was missing from our whole concept. And bringing on beers like I remember Boneyard RPM and Costy Total Domination back in the day were they were game changers, and then getting the right glassware, the right dishwashers and draft systems and all that followed. And fast forward to now, we're able to be part of special projects like this and work with awesome people like Single Hill and SIP. And even during a period where our dining rooms and bars are shut down, we're able to get beer to people and to their homes. So that's the really short version of it.
Don't forget you work with me too.
True. I actually remember after when I first visited Single Hill, it was about a month after they opened. I think that night when I got home, I emailed you. Hey, check these guys out. I think you already knew about them at that point. But
well, I had heard, but I did not have firsthand recommendation about how good their beer was, other than people who are in some capacity related to the brewery. So,
right.
To get a third party like you to come in and tell me that they were good, that's when I really started to pay attention.
Cool.
So,
yeah.
I don't know exactly what Zach's doing.
Hopefully getting another beer.
I want to on your way to get another beer. So that's certainly allowed. So, Zach, what I wanted to ask you about was, well, first of all, you guys opened about 2 years ago?
Yeah, we served our first beer pretty much 2 years to the day at a little festival in downtown Yakima, and we opened our doors June 1st. So we're coming up on our 2-year anniversary, which would have been a huge party if the circumstances were a little bit different.
Can you tell us a little bit about kind of your philosophy there at the brewery and about your personal background and your role there at the brewery?
Yeah, so Single Hill we're about 2 years old. I guess my story, I came to Yakima about 7 years ago to work in the hop industry after leaving Odell Brewing Company in Colorado, where I was quality manager. And I just kind of wanted to go do something different. I was kind of infatuated by farms at the time. So I came to Yakima to learn a little bit more about hops and got a bit sucked in. And then after that, several years working for Yakima Chief, ended up wanting to go ahead and take that step and open a brewery, which is something I've been thinking about doing for probably about 15 years. And so here we are today. My partner, Ty Paxton, is the one that actually met Tommy a couple of years ago, made the initial connection. And we opened up Single Hill to be a place for community in Yakima. So that's really been our focus from day one. Creating a space that's going to be open and welcoming to everybody in Yakima, brew beer for Yakima, the kind of beers that people here want to drink. On the other side of that, my background is relatively technical, and I like making fun beers and being really, really tightly connected to farms. So while we have a nice lineup of beers that's very, accessible, we're not trying to be like very pretentious about it. We also make a lot of beers that have a pretty deep connection to farms or to hop companies around here or to agriculture, and that gives us a nice opportunity to play with new hops or new brewing techniques, things that keep me interested.
So let's talk a little bit. Obviously, the name of your brewery suggests that you guys have a certain affinity for hops, and right. In particular, experimental hops. And I explained in the story that I wrote today about this beer that a Single Hill is what they refer to one single new hop variety, usually in experimental capacity. And a Single Hill may grow into being its own variety, and an experimental can eventually end up having a name. Like, what are the hops that you use in this? They're experimental, so they have numbers and not names. And eventually, a Single Hill hop can grow to the point that it becomes like it's kind of like I'm just a bill. Finally, I'm a law. When a hop becomes official, it gets a name instead of a number. And so, tell us a little bit about these two hops that you used. in this beer?
Yes, we use 2 experimental hops that are in very late stage of development. One of them is likely to be released soon, from the sounds of it, and then another one maybe a little later. But they have numbers, so HBC 692 is one, and then 586 is the other. HBC stands for the Hop Breeding Company, which is kind of a consortium of 2 different breeding companies, Yakima Chief Ranches and Haws. And that's kind of where these hops came from. 692 is one that we've been playing with for a couple of years. I think a lot of brewers have used it over the last 2-3 years probably. And it has a really dominant character that it can really just take over a beer in this pithy citrus way, but that adds a lot of depth. It has an aroma that just cuts through. You can always, if it's in the beer, you can always smell it in a nice way, but it can also overwhelm. And then the 586 is just really soft, like a creamy, tropical kind of flavor. In this beer, it ends up being very like papaya or guava, so a very strong tropical fruit.
I definitely get a lot of stone fruit. That's what I get a lot of. Kendall, by the way, sorry, don't mean. What do you think about the beer?
I think it's pretty awesome, actually. I think it's the hops that I'm loving in it. I agree with you. I get a lot of stone fruit. I get a lot of the citrusy kind of. I want to say mango, but my wife was just chopping mangoes in the kitchen, so I'm a little bit got mango on my mind. But yeah, definitely mango. Kim says peaches. I get a little bit of that too, but that stone fruit, kind of that earthy stone fruit bitterness too at the end.
Mm-hmm. Zach, can you compare these hops to any hops that are on the market that have names?
One of the things I like about these hops is they are pretty distinctive, which is sort of challenging to do with hops these days. There's a pretty large menu, a pretty broad palette of hops, but actually finding something that stands out as another flavor profile is a bit challenging. And so I think these are distinct in that way.
Yeah.
It would, they're in the category of the other really high impact flavor hops like the Citras and Mosaics and Strata. Sabro, they're in that family of just new age, new variety, sort of sulfur driven, very high impact flavor hops, but they do kind of have a different niche.
Tell us a little bit about the malt profile, because I know you use some malt from Link and some, of course, from Great Western. What'd you use from Link? I'm curious.
Yeah, we've been working with Link for most of the time. We've been open as well. We've really enjoyed getting to know them and their operations. Small maltster in Spokane, and we've been using their light Lion Munich for pretty much every beer we brew. So we have their light Munich in this, and then we have also used some dark Munich from Great Western in this. So it has a maltier profile than almost all of our other IPAs in that sense. It gives it more of a glowing orangey color.
So we could talk about the beer all day, but I'd like to hear. Tell me, what do you think of the beer?
It's incredible. I think Zach hit it with the hops. They're just I don't know. I haven't really tasted a beer like this before, which is fun. It just stands out. Without going into the actual flavor profiles, it's just incredibly balanced and clean. I love that there's some bitterness to it on the back end. It has some haze to it. It's slightly hazy, but it's not a full-on hazy IPA. So I don't know. I like a beer that I can just keep going. I really want to keep going back to, and that this beer just hits that out of the park for me. The hops are just super fun. They're just really unique.
What did you say? Cool. Got any ideas about what pizza you would pair it with?
Yeah, I think this one would be good with some spice. So I would say the Dragon, which has fresh jalapeno and fresh garlic, sausage, pepperoni, cherry bomb, Mama Little's peppers.
Yeah.
Fresh basil. We're actually releasing some new pizzas soon with Salt Blade cured meats. I don't know if you've heard of them before. But they're incredible.
I'm a big fan of cured meats.
Super good. And one of the the ingredients we're using is his salami picante, which has some local peppers from a local farm. And I think this is going to go really well with some of the pies that we're going to be introducing in the menu in a couple weeks here.
That's good.
Spiced, I would say.
And for anybody out there who doesn't know, you should really check out Zeeks. Obviously, pizza is great, but they also deliver beer with it in their beer delivery program. It's become more common now for breweries and other places to actually deliver beer to your doorstep. But Zeeks started doing it. When did you guys start doing that? 2 years ago?
3 years ago, I think.
3 years ago, yeah. And I mean,
with Hot Topic, was that your first delivery beer?
You know, we couldn't at that point. I don't think we could deliver draft beer. The laws have been super confusing to work around, but the state has made it a lot easier since. But we basically were delivering cans for a long time, and then crowlers for a minute, and then they said you can't do that anymore. So we stopped with the crowlers, and then went back to cans, only at some stores. What's made it really nice now is that they've really opened up the floodgates to allow us to deliver both packaged and sealed draft beer. So, like I think our delivery beer sale or volume, we might be moving more beer out of our taps than last year at this time. Definitely not making the same amount of money because we're charging $12 for a 64-ounce growler, and that's about half, actually exactly about half the amount that we get off a pint or whatever. But yeah, our entire tap list is basically available. That's not how it was before this.
And you guys were and Zach, they were the first restaurant, first kind of customer to really focus on selling your beers. Like you guys sold a lot of Single Hill beers straight out of the gate because of Tommy stumbling across your brewery.
We're very fortunate to have that connection early on and to be able to sell to one person who has a lot of stores.
That's kind of why we're all here right now.
Yep. Yeah. We're all fans.
Yeah, it's about friendship. It's good for all of us. It's fun, I mean, I remember meeting Ty, and he's like the Zach. I think his title is like Positive Vibes Director. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely felt that the brewery on about a month after you were open. It was really cool to meet him, and you could just feel you could feel the positive vibes, and obviously the beer was awesome as well. But yeah.
So, Tommy, you guys are in a fortunate position. I know you just were mentioning that you're losing some money because you're not selling pints in your restaurants right now.
Sure.
Obviously. So you're taking a hit because of that. But how have your sales in terms of pizza and beer been throughout these shutdowns? Chugging along pretty good?
Yeah, we're doing okay. We're fortunate in that we were a pizza delivery and takeout company before this. So we, instead of pivoting, we just honed in on those segments of our business, and we're lucky enough to be able to do that. But we're definitely not where we were last year at this time, but we're doing okay. The beer delivery thing has been a huge deal in terms of driving pizza sales for us. So
it's funny because I mean, when you guys first started delivering beer, I had trouble. I mean, I was pretty excited about it. I thought it was one of the coolest things that had happened in craft beer around here in a long time. Mm-hmm. But I had trouble getting other people to wrap their brains around it. It's like, no, seriously, you can get beer like delivered to your door for like grocery store prices.
Well, yeah, I think that's what people thought too, is that it was going to be like twice the amount, that it is in retail, which is not the case.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's one of the things that's important for people to know out there is like, don't think you're going to buy a pizza and then you're going to get your beer at grocery store prices. So it's no different than buying a pizza and drinking beer that you bought at the grocery store, except that you don't have to deal with going to the grocery store. Yeah. So, Kristen, what's up with SIP? What are you guys working on right now as we stumble through this whole COVID nightmare?
It's been interesting to say the least. I mean, I think we were really excited about this year. It's our decade celebration. We're turning 10 years, and it which is, we made it, you know? So, I mean, we were so excited. We had so many things planned for this year that kind of are, you know, we're just kind of trying to figure that out right now. But, I mean, things are good. I mean, it's really crazy because our spring issue came out 1 week before everything got shut down, which is all the tasting rooms and breweries and everything. And a majority of our distribution is in these tasting rooms. So we were sitting there with pallets of magazines in our storage trying to figure out, you know, how are we going to get these distributed and into the hands of consumers. And so we just got crafty. I mean, I can't tell you, like, I have heard the word pivot so many times, but my brain is pivoting like every minute. Like we are like, I'm just like, my head hurts from like trying to figure things out. And we are completely sold out as of today, completely sold out of the spring issue, completely, which is, we still would be on newsstands another month. So it's just shown that the community like is rallying around us as much as the beverage producers and, you know, subscribing to the publication. And print is doing well right now. I mean, everybody's at home, you know, and, you know, people are online more and doing all that. And it's just crazy because when I started this magazine 10 years ago, we were in the recession. I mean, a high recession, and I'd moved from Arizona, and everybody was like, you are absolutely crazy to start a print publication right now. And I just said, I just believe that we have something that, you know, isn't out there and can serve a really cool sector of this whole beverage industry locally, and really kind of tell the stories of all the producers and talk about all this great craft that's being produced in the Northwest. And when this year, when we, you know, are going to have our big 10-year celebration, we were going to do a big announcement that we have now moved to SIP Magazine, formerly SIP Northwest, and our online coverage is going to start to expand outside of the Northwest. So, you know, that's kind of been like a little bit put on hold because we wanted to be able to support all the producers in our backyard right now, especially during this time. And so we just have said, like, we need to just focus on, you know, what we've been doing and the producers and doing whatever we can to kind of get them through this time with them and be a partner. So, you know, there's a little bit of content outside the Northwest on sipmagazine.com right now, but we're kind of just like, we're just going to wait this out and, you know, and be there and do what we can to kind of, you know, give, you know, promote our local beverage community. So.
Yeah. And, you know, I'm not saying this to blow sunshine, because I have to disclose that I have written, and I probably very likely will write for you again. And I have said this to many people. And one of the things that I love about SIP Magazine is not just everything that there is to love about the magazine. It's informative. It's a beautifully laid out magazine. You guys do a fantastic job with it. But it's so nice working with you and Aaron and the SIP crew, because you guys get it. A lot of the magazines I write for, it's like, they're like, oh yeah, that beer thing is kind of cool. We should have somebody write about that beer thing. But you guys are so in tune with the industry that you get it. And it's almost hard to pitch ideas to you because you guys already have thought of so many things yourselves because you're so entrenched in the industry. So kudos to you guys.
Thank you so much. And honestly, thank you for your write-up today. You had some very kind words for us. And, you know,
all true, though. I mean, just so you know.
Thank you.
It's true. I love you guys, and I love your magazine.
Thank you.
Whether I'm reading it or writing for you. Whether I'm paying you or you're paying me, I love it.
Well, we appreciate it. And honestly, like, any support during this time, I mean, we ask that, you know, follow us on SIP Magazine and do all that stuff and subscribe if you can. We are a family-owned, female-run business, and, you know, we're in the thick of it with everyone else. So we're just trying to, you know, be as innovative as possible. We're doing just a ton more video, which, like, my goodness, I've never had to shower so much and put normal clothes on because we only have 3 people in our office normally. So I'm like so used to just getting in my yoga pants and going there. And I'm like, oh, I have to be on video now. So I don't know. It's fun.
That's why I started doing these Beer 30 broadcast things, is because I figured if I do one a week, at least I'll shave.
To shave. Totally. Yeah.
So let's move on to some other stuff. Let's talk about some nuts and bolts here with the beer. It's going to be released officially tomorrow, at which point people will be able to get it at the brewery and order it from Zeeks, as I understand. And then I also understand that it's going to hit wider distribution by the end of the month. So where can, other than ordering a pizza and getting some beer from Zeeks, or heading over to Yakima and hitting up the brewery tap room, where can people get this beer? Where should they expect to see it in the coming weeks?
The list is still a little bit to be determined. We're playing it relatively conservatively to make sure we don't run out of beer at Zeeks. That's probably our number one priority. So, and I think that the consensus so far is we really love the beer, and so it's making me a little bit nervous that it might not go as far as we hoped it would. So there's more in the tank. We're fermenting more. We got more to can in a minute here. But we'll kind of line out that wider distribution plan next week after we see how fast the weekend goes and what our inventory looks like. I bought a lot more hops today to make sure we can make a lot more of this beer.
That's awesome.
Than I was originally anticipating. And even if we don't use these hops for this beer, if it doesn't go as much as my napkin.
Well, we're going to be running it for 6 months too.
Yeah. So we're really, really excited. It's a great beer. Now I'm just nervous, to be honest, that we can keep enough there that we can share it. That we can share it more widely than just Zeeks.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean we should stop talking about how good it is?
No, we should do whatever we want, and we should drink it. But it may be the case that it stays at Zeeks a little bit longer if we blast through it over the weekend.
There are a couple. Sorry, Kendall. We are planning, I think, Chuck's in both the CD and on 85th in Seattle will be carrying it, and Beer Junction, right in West Seattle. I think there's a handful that we will put that up and let everyone know where and when those will be available to consumers outside of Zeeks. But just go to Zeeks right now. It's just easy. Oh my gosh, my dog. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, we tend to have our beer at kind of the better beer bars and better beer bottle shops in the Seattle-Tacoma area. So
but
that's where they'll probably
locations. It's going to be Zeeks and then probably the better bottle shops and stuff. Before if it ever makes it to grocery stores, it'll hit those places first.
Yeah, if it makes it to grocery, that would be neat, but might be a little tough.
Yeah. So as far as the canning run goes, is this a one-time deal?
No, the plan's to keep doing it.
Okay.
We just dove headfirst into canning a month ago, so working out all the logistics of that is an ongoing project for me. But we have more lined up to can as soon as possible.
So everybody, I want one last thing about the cans. We're talking about the cans. It's hard to do with the light here, but the cans are really beautiful. And who did the design work on the cans?
Yeah, so this is like all of our labels so far. It's been us. It's our team. Andrew, who's our Seattle sales rep, actually did most of the design himself with the help of his sister. We took an aerial photo from Google Earth, and she traced it out for us, and then we colored it and did everything else that we needed to do to it. Yeah, we made it over one evening, basically. Andrew and I were emailing back and forth till about 1 a.m, drafts and things, and then it was off to the printer the next.
I mean, it was kind of one of those things where we're like, okay, we've been talking about this for what 3 months now, and about the release and everything, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh my gosh, and we just had to do everything, all the marketing, press, the everything. It came together really, really insanely quickly, and we were like, okay, it's here, we're doing this.
Yeah. So, once we figured out the name was Lateral A, that was kind of the key to nail that down, and that sort of set a lot of the rest of the pieces in place, because it sets up the backstory of the beer really nicely.
It's funny.
Kendall, going back to your article. Sorry, Kendall, going back to the write-up that you did today on it, I really did appreciate how well you understood the context of the beer, the place, and the elements that refer back to Yakima
Well, yeah, I completely get it. I mean, I didn't know that road was called Lateral A. I just knew that it was the road that went out towards
the hop heaven.
Yeah. This went. You know, when I've been on that road, it's been to go to Select Botanical, Peralt, and Gamache. You know, it's been all for good reasons, because it's
Yep.
like you drive out there and it's just you're driving through a forest of hops, and it is. I didn't know it was called Lateral A until I read the press release from you guys, to be honest with you. I just knew that's the road that goes out to Peralt.
Yeah. If you look closely on the center of the label, the line right there, that is Lateral A. The line on the bottom is Branch Road if you're local.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Learn something new every day with our own beer.
One of the things that I love about craft beer is a backstory. So many of the breweries have a backstory. So many of the beers have a backstory. And I think about the big beers against which craft beer competes. Just they don't. You know, I mean, somebody puts their name on a beer and they think that's enough, and there's no story behind it. And then they just spend a lot of money marketing it. And that's not the way we do it in craft beer. We always want to have some real connection, something real and honest to connect the beer to people and connect the beer to the earth. And that's why I think Lateral A was a brilliant thing to call a beer, and especially a beer that is so incredibly hop forward as this beer, which is a blessing in my mind. And like I want to give you, Zach, I want to say I appreciate the fact that there is some bitterness in this beer, and I don't know how much you did, how much you did in the boil, what you did to try and give it that bitterness, or if it just came out of the hops without you thinking about it too much. But I do appreciate the fact that there is some bitterness to this IPA, because a lot of IPAs these days just aren't bitter at all. They're just big fruit bombs.
Yeah.
We think about bitterness a lot. So,
but Zach, can I ask a question? Is there a potential of possibly doing a fresh hop version of Lateral A?
Great question.
Last year we did to an extent, because we did do a fresh hop 586 beer as part of the fresh hop rodeo that we did. So when you visited the brewery last year, you saw all those fresh hops on tap simultaneously, and so many of them were collaboration beers. That was part of we called it the fresh hop rodeo. We did 3 different rounds with three collaborators per round. So there's the second one. It was Odell, Wander Brewing, and Cream.
And Holy Mountain, right?
We all made. What's that?
Holy Mountain too?
Well, no, they were in the first round. The first round was
Gotcha.
Holy Mountain, Pulsion, and gosh, it's been a little while. Sorry, I forget. Anyway, the second one we ended up getting. Say again.
That's what happens when you get put on the spot.
Yeah, but that second one we did get to use 586, and we were really excited about that. We went down to Haas Yakima Goldings Ranch, which is down near Lateral A, and we picked up 586 fresh pick that day. Their harvest window on that is only maybe 8 hours, because there's just not much of it. It's not expanded yet. So we had the date picked out for the brew, weeks in advance with 3 different brewers, and we had to schedule it around their selection trips. And thanks to Yakima, and we managed to just nail it to be able to still use 586 for that brew. And the beers turned out awesome. They were great. So there likely will be some kind of fresh hop version.
Well, all right, everybody. We've kind of hit the 30-minute mark that I always try to aim for, to keep people's attention span, keep people's attention for, if we keep it for 15 minutes, we're doing well. If we keep it for 30 minutes, we're doing really well. So I want to thank everybody for coming on today and doing this with me. And I want to thank you for making such a great beer. And once again, for contributing to a great organization over there in the Yakima Valley. And I want to tell people, go get the beer. If you decide that you're going to get it from Zeeks and have it delivered, that's great. If you go to Zeeks and pick it up with your pizza, you can pick up a copy of the magazine as well. Isn't that right, Kristen?
Yes, that's right. I think it might actually be getting delivered. So anybody that orders pizza along with that beer will get a copy of the spring issue. So
damn, that's brilliant.
I delivered them all today. So They've got
Yep.
them.
I kind of walked you right into that one, Kristen.
That's why there are no more copies left of this spring issue. So I mean, this will probably become a collector's edition at this point. So.
Okay, well, unless anybody else has anything else that they want to add, I'd like to thank you all again for joining us. And does anybody have anything else they would like to throw in here at the end?
Just
all right.
Thank you, Kendall, for helping bring some exposure to this beer and this collaboration. And I hope there's many more to come.
Cheers to that. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everybody. And out there in Facebook land, thank you very much. And tune in next time. And I have no idea who our next guests on Beer 30 are going to be, but we'll get to work on that as soon as we're done with this. So thank you, everybody. And thank you to our guests.
Thank you, guys.
Great. Thanks. Have a great day, guys.
Cheers.